Yep, I believe we're recording. Okay, yep, it's morning. And we'll call this a daily Harmon. That's right. I'm going to waste a good, perfectly good walk and talk morning talking about what can only be described as a treasonous bitch who serves on the federal court of the United States. That's right. Preposterous as that sounds, how could a traitor to the Constitution serve on a federal court? Seems outrageous. Somebody who allows their own petty emotions to decide cases that affect the people of the United States, millions of people? But yeah, it's true. Just a petty, irrational, unintelligent, intellectually dishonest, completely lousy, rotten piece of scum is on our courts. And there's a lot of them. There's no getting around it. We put lawyers on the court. It's really dumb because lawyers make their living, basically. Most of the money is made defending criminals. You see, honest people really usually don't have to do much. They just say, fuck you, prove it. Right? I mean, if you're an honest person who hasn't murdered or thieved or done anything disreputable or dishonorable, you can usually prove that pretty easily. And it's only the people who are kind of the scum of the earth who have to pay millions of dollars to fucking lawyers to get them off the hook. And the corporations, of course, fall into that category. They fuck us all the time, and they hire expensive mouthpieces to bribe other lawyers, essentially, to win their cases. And I do mean the other lawyers to be the judges. But the whole idea is lawyers make their money by lying all the time. I mean, they lie all the time. They know their client's guilty as hell, and they contrive some bullshit argument and make it like it's sincere, and they're just being paid to be assassins of the truth. That's all they are. They're mercenaries against the truth. And that's the system. And it wouldn't really matter if the judges had integrity. But unfortunately, the judges are those lying lawyers. They first make some money as lying lawyers, then they go on a court, get themselves an appointment to a court, and then they'll be overseeing cases, and they'll know from their own experience, well, I was a lying scumbag, so of course I'm going to be on the lying scumbagger side. They're going to identify with that approach to life, the cheat, the manipulation, the distortion, the technicality. They lived for that stuff when they had a career, and of course they're going to, still want to live in it. And, having a judgeship gives them all kinds of patronage power. They get all kinds of bribes and perks. Their kids get jobs, their nephews and whatnot, because people want to, they want to feather the bed ahead of time. Let's be nice to the judge, so just in case we need something in the future, a favor, we've got some insider in there to, grease the wheels for us. And they have no inhibition about playing these games. They're just disgusting creatures, monsters, fucking hideous monsters, grotesque, just the worst of humanity. That's all. The worst of humanity is on our federal benches. And it sort of can be, the obviousness of it can be seen because this is all obvious. The fact that they fuck people over every fucking day is just plain fucking fact, provable fact. And the fact that none of the judges stand up and say, no, colleague of mine, I'm going to call you on your bullshit. It's like the cops. The good cops don't fix the bad cops. They don't out them. They cover it up. They protect them. And that makes them accessories to bad coppery. And it makes them, almost in a way, more guilty. Because they know better, and they still don't fix it. So fuck you, honest judges out there. You're covering up a disgusting, horrific destruction of the very concept of justice, democracy, anything called an American value. You know better, and you still let it happen. That makes you double scum. So anyway, get back to the regular scum, Miss Harmon. Right, so let's get this context again. Right? Let's see. I get an illegitimate dismissal of a valid claim. A superior court obviously reads that claim and must be aware that it's a legitimate claim, or they might have pointed that out. That, well, look, what Hitler did was inappropriate, but does it matter because the claim is incomprehensible and we don't know what it means? But they didn't do that. And Miss Hitler knows that. And so anyway, a year and a half later, we get into her wonderful court. And what does she do? Does she read? Does she start applying her judgment to all the motions that have already been filed? No. Does she give us rational argument why I shouldn't travel 2,000 miles for an almost irrelevant conference, something that can be done on the papers. But, it certainly can be done by telephone, not critical, not evidentiary. It just is a perfunctory, organize the case kind of bullshit. No, we don't get any rational argument why that should happen. We don't get any rational argument saying, see, I've done this all the time. I always make lawyers in 2,000 miles away fly to Texas for these little insignificant preliminary conferences. No, we don't get any of that. We just get orders. And then orders. Then we get sanctions for speaking, for exercising our constitutional rights. We get punished. What a brilliant concept that is. Don't speak freely, because now we'll punish you. That says that in the First Amendment, right? I'm sure it says that in there somewhere. Don't offend a judge, or you'll lose your First Amendment rights. I'm sure it says it there somewhere. And you'll lose all your rights, basically, because we'll be able to sanction you. That's what we'll call it, a sanction. Like you did something wrong. It's just such bullshit. So even that whole idea of the sanctioning of me that's used to justify denying me the right to defend my case through teleconference and oblige her to make a rational argument to my face, anyway, or at least to my ear, that's just so bogus. That judges can just make up rules, and that they can sit there and take away the fundamental right to even prosecute your case and call it a sanction. I mean, it's just idiotic. You find me, do some other crazy thing. But this idea that you're going to deny somebody their constitutional rights without any proof of me doing something illegal or even a violation that was even malicious. I mean, you'd have to sort of demonstrate by some sort of evidence that I understood that the word courthouse in the rules explicitly meant in my living room. I don't think you can do that. But anyway, there's just so many things that are just preposterous about what you did. The lawsuit was against more than just Joneser. There was these other defendants. I pointed out the other defendants. I pointed out the legal process I served on the other defendants. There's absolutely no way you can dismiss the case against them because they haven't filed any papers in the case. And I still have a right. I served them through the rules. I've obeyed the rules. I now need a court order to finish the service process because they have violated federal law. And it's just bullshit to say those claims are dismissed. I mean, there's no excuse for that. I should say it with prejudice, like that means something. She doesn't even have the competence to narrow her decision and make the with prejudice claims explicit. She can't dismiss those claims with prejudice because those claims haven't been served. So that's bullshit. So I certainly can refile tomorrow against the fucking Mexican, against the lying, eternally undenying perjurer. But regardless, and of course BCJ and all the rest of those people, I have to get a court order to get documents from Google before I can serve them, because I don't know their fucking names. So she had no right to not decide on that motion, or at least, I mean, that's the kind of thing, like I said, I could have just filed the motions, but there's a certain inefficiency in filing motions incompletely, and that's why you have the fucking conference. The whole intention of the conference is to make sure that all the I's are dotted, and so to speak, regarding what is the expectation, what the court wants. So like if you do have a motion, they'll say something like, well, you're going to have to provide cause in your motion why we should inconvenience Google, or some other bullshit that you could attach as an expectation. And it just saves. It can save months of bullshit, unnecessary paper filing. It's just the rational way to conduct the legal process. And she knows this. I'm not arguing if somebody doesn't know it. She doesn't care, because it was her intent to abolish my constitutional rights, and that's what she's effectively done. And she should go on trial for that crime. But the judges have made themselves immune. They've made themselves immune to jury trials. They are not subject to the same judgments that we are, the same vulnerability, the same liabilities of having to do their job honestly and appropriately. They can't be sued for negligence. They can't be sued for killing your kid. They can't be sued for a motherfucking thing. And that's just fucking outrageous. They got the most important job in the world. They should be held to the highest standards of accountability, not the lowest standards of accountability. It is just grotesquely preposterous. With power comes responsibility and accountability. That's the price you pay to have it, is that you're going to have the burden of being impeccable and not having any dirt on you at all, being as pure as the purest snow, however you want to describe it. But yeah, that's going to be your blight, is that you're going to have to be as perfect a person as you can be in the performance of your job. And that's just the liability of power. And it's a very fair liability. But these fuckers don't have the integrity to accept that responsibility with their power. They're just the takers. They're just greedy, irresponsible, lazy, motherfucking scum. Period. So anyway, enough for today. Well, enough for now. Maybe later I'll have some more. Yeah, maybe. So anyway, till next time. This is me, signing off. So we're going to have some e-cigarette, play some tunes, calm myself down before I have to go to the coal mine. Anyway, yeah.